Hi everybody, it's Karen Sullivan, and I'm here on my personal timeline today because I've got some really important information that I want to share with everybody. Those of you who are not on my business page, which is Life, Health, and More, I want you to hear this. This past weekend, I went on a trip. My husband and I took just an short run up to see our kids and grandson, and it was delightful. And I posted on Facebook asking about ideas for food to eat on the street while you're driving. And so I want to share that with you, but I also want to share about, this is Traveler's Blues. This is the 27th show that I've done live on Facebook, and the first time I've ever gone on my personal page. And I've done that because I've got some stuff that's really important to share. Ordinarily, I talk about getting off the diet roller coaster, finding health and fitness beyond when you lose your weight, and just general fitness ideas and tips. And today I'm going to focus on what happens when you go on vacation. You know, we need vacations. We need a time to break from the routine and to totally relax and enjoy life and get out of the hubbub of the insanity of the world, because no matter how hard you try, you're going to have an issue of something in life that comes up when you're going about your daily tasks. So vacations are important, whether it's a weekend, a day, or if you take a week off and go someplace. Traveling is nice, but we have some problems to deal with the body, and then also our routines. And what I noticed this weekend was breaking from my routine. I almost couldn't find where my shampoo was in my bag, because it was in my bag and it wasn't sitting in my shower, right? So things like that we have to deal with. Now, there's things with the body, things with the, as far as your habits and maintaining your routine. Those two, that's the angles that I'm taking, is what happens with your body. And Rebecca's with me today. Hi, Rebecca. I had Larry on here earlier, and Lynn too. I'm sorry that they weren't able to stay longer. But so the most important thing to remember is you need to establish a routine and know what you're going to do for vacation. Because my routine, for an example, I'll use myself, because I was measuring and paying attention to, wow, this is so different and it is so hard, because it's been a while since we've been away. So ordinarily my routine is I'm up at 5 o'clock. I do some stretching. I start the coffee, pack lunches maybe, and I do my devotions first thing in the morning. Sometimes while I'm stretching, often after I stretch. But that's my normal flow, and it's kind of like the tide comes and goes, and Karen does that regardless, right? And so I tried to do that, and I was not in my own home. I didn't have the things that I use, the space on the floor that I usually use, so that was a little difficult to do. Now, I am always an early riser, and it seems that that's not going to change, and everybody else is always in bed. So as far as doing my devotions, it's great, but taking care of my body is a really important thing. And I can do it, but just not as efficiently. If I back up a little bit and think about the drive up there to try and, 6 hours of sitting in a car. Now, what happens when you're sitting in a car is you get stiff and sore. Your back will hurt, and that's usually because in the seated position, your hip flexor or the psoas muscle shortens, and then it actually goes from right above the knee. It attaches there and then goes through the pelvis, and it attaches in your back, like at the bottom rib. It attaches to the spine. So you have that pull when it shortens, and it pulls on the back, which is why your back hurts. And it's important to get up and stretch and drive for a while. Well, you only want to push that so much, because you'll never get to where you're going if you're stopping every hour. Always make sure that you're going to stop for a potty break, walk around a little bit, and make sure you stretch so that the body will not be so hit so terribly hard. Okay. Now, the other part of that is sitting in the car and the boredom that comes about. And so this is the fun part where I asked for ideas from people on best travel food for road trips. And that's all I said. And then I said, go. So here are some of the things that my friends gave me for suggestions. Let's see. There was licorice. Quite a bit of licorice. A lot of people are eating licorice in the cars, I see. Fruit. Okay. Let's see. What were some of the other things? This is not wanting to advance. So let's see. Okay. Almonds, pecans, roasted pecans, which is delightful. Bananas. There was a specific, had some people with apples, and make sure you have a little bit of peanut butter for that apple. Here's another licorice. Cookies. Oh, this is something. This is a friend of mine at work. I make muffins, freeze them in packages of 2. Great for breakfast with a piece of fruit. Ate them today before some volleyball games. Okay. She also does kale chips and dries them out. And Luna bars and packages of nuts and packs of fruit with fresh vegetables. And she does Tootsie Pops. That is a nice, sweet thing to do, and they last really long. It's going to keep you busy, okay? Then there's stay awake foods. Now this person seems that stay awake foods are sweet tarts, corn nuts, and soda, and she's got a laughing face that's crying, okay? That cracks me up. I use coffee. Beef jerky. A lot of jerky people. No, not a lot of jerky people. A lot of people recommending jerky. Okay, let's see. Popcorn. That's a good one. I have a problem with it. Makes me really, really thirsty. Okay. Let's see. Frozen grapes. That's a great idea. Toasted coconut. That's nice. Let's see. Celery, carrots, and little tiny tubs of peanut butter. There's another jerky person. Fresh fruit, and this is an apple and peanut butter person. Okay. Let's see. Trail mix. That's good. Twizzlers. That's a great one. And it's the red ones that come in strings that you can sort of pull off. Okay. Funyuns. Then she says, yes, they really do taste like fun onions. That was a question I had. Let's see. Snack sticks. That's something that she gets at Aldi, and good source of protein. Let's see. We've got, a meat and cheese roll-ups, usually like turkey and provolone. She said she just does them, rolls them up, has them in a container and a cooler in her car. Let's see. Oh, and here's someone that's a hiker that talks about making sure that they have, now this is for a hiker. No, we're riding in the car, but for a hiker, they want to have snacks that have plenty of fat in it so that you're going to be burning that energy. Okay. So that's what this guy is saying. Okay, hard-boiled eggs. Oh, that just came on this morning. Now, see, there are some really great ideas for while you're driving in the car. I know that one year my husband made a whole bunch of chicken thighs and we had them all. They were marinated. They were delightful. They were grilled, and we just left them in the cooler, and we had like sliced peppers and celery and those sorts of things to eat on that were really cold in the cooler. So that's a great thing, so that as you're traveling, you're having snack food. Perhaps it'll keep you from going through a drive-through and getting fast food on the road. I know that a lot of people say, well, that's what they're going to do because it's the only time they eat fast food. The problem with that is when you're only eating fast food occasion and your diet is really clean, it's probably going to make you sick. And that's the last thing that you want while you're on the road, and then you get to your destination and you don't feel well because your stomach is all bloated and weird because it's not used to eating that kind of food. So planning your routine, planning the foods that you're going to take with you as you go. And then once you get there, just trying to schedule your time a little bit differently. Remembering that when you get up in the morning, and if you have a habit of doing exercise and devotions and stretching or whatever it is, you want to try to still build that in, perhaps not sleeping in if you have to go out someplace later. Now, the respite is very important, and but mostly it's the difficulty is staying on course and trying to make sure that you can, still take care of the things that you need to take care of. My difficulty this weekend was my eyesight's not so great up close. I mean, and then to wash my face and put makeup on, and so those adjustments were kind of hard. So I had to finally realize, well, I can put my BB cream on my face and be set, and that's enough. That's good enough for me. And so there you are. You're doing more adjustments for how you're going to spend your vacation. Not be concerned about maintaining quite the level of expertise. That's kind of my view of it. I'm on vacation. I want to have a good time. I want my skin to be protected. I want to make sure I continue with the normal things that my body needs. But it goes back to needing to be aware and mindful, aware and advanced planning. Okay. When you go to eat and you're eating in a restaurant or you're eating at someone's home, this is where the journal comes in, where you have been journaling about the foods that you can tolerate and the ones that you cannot tolerate. And I don't know if you guys saw a show that I had a few weeks ago where I was talking about the realization of hidden sugar in food, whether it's a processed food that has sugar in it, but more importantly in our natural foods and the amount of sugar that's in it. And you have to recognize whether your body can handle the sugar, and if it can't, then make sure that you're not eating the food. So one of the things that I've always known is that carrots have, and they're sweeter. So it's not a surprise, is it? That they have a little more sugar in it. And often that happens in the root vegetables, the ones that are grown in the ground. They have higher amounts of sugar in them. They might not be sweet the way carrots are, but they do. But I spoke with a new friend of mine who is coaching with me, and she's diabetic, and mentioned the fact that in her school for diabetic eating, since she's just recently diagnosed, they were telling her that if you eat a bowl of rice is just about the bowl of rice is about the same as having 2 cans of soda, regular soda, okay? And the sugar that you have in the regular soda is tough, it's really tough. This thing is beeping at me and asking me to invite my friends, and that is not what I wanted to do. Let me get that out of the way. So, I don't know how to get rid of it. Okay. So there we go. Sorry about that. There was something on the screen that I don't know what it is. It's flashing at me. Anyway, so those are the food challenges you have to recognize. And just remember that when you're away from home, you don't want to lower your standard of what you need for your body to be healthy and fit. Now, it's different if you have met your goal, and if you are, if you're eating the food and you've been doing really well, you've lost the weight you want to, and you're at the phase where you kind of this happily ever after, and it's after you've gotten the weight off that you're talking about. So if that's the case, then you can be a little more lenient about it. But if you're still in the process of trying to lose weight, you want to make sure that you stay with your program as closely as you can and eating the foods that you need, trying to get your exercise, walking around and doing, more perhaps walking and sightseeing than you would actually do going to the gym and doing any kind of exercise. Know what your triggers are. Really know that when you sit, yes, Terry, isn't that insane? It has that much sugar in it. We're talking about, doesn't matter whether it's white rice or brown rice. The dietitian at the hospital was telling this lady that it's rice. And I said, well, how much is a bowl of rice. And she said, well, about what you would get if you went to a restaurant and you got, food that would like a Chinese restaurant, the amount of rice that they give you with the food there, with the Chinese food. So being very cautious about that, and especially if your body is not able to handle the food, because as it digests, it does become sugar. So that's always important to remember. But the exercises too, sitting is one thing that can cause a problem if you, in your body, so shifting back to body from food, and walking, making sure you have nice comfortable shoes, because without a good support, your legs will probably bother you. If you're wearing heels, you know that you can't really wear heels. So be cautious about what you're doing, and when you're going ahead, trying to see things and see the sights and everything, wear the whole comfortable shoes. Okay, wear the comfortable shoes so that you'll feel good while you're walking and not end up with a backache. All right, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to cover here when we are the Traveler's Blues. This is the title of this 27th episode. And this is usually, my page is Life, Health, and More on Facebook, but I felt like this was so important to share some of the stuff that everybody had told me about with the snacks for on the road, and then some of the tips that I have about while you're trying to go somewhere and have a trip, whether it's a business trip or a real fun trip. Then so there we go. Instead of talking about the diet roller coaster, I'm talking about trying to keep your body healthy and strong and stay on point with your workout and your program that you're doing. And so we don't want you to get set back because you've decided to take some time and relax and enjoy yourself. So this is Karen Sullivan again. My page is Life, Health, and More on Facebook, and there you can sign up for advanced training if you're interested in it, advanced fitness training, and there's an email. You fill out your email information, and that will get you started on how to get off the diet roller coaster. I hope you decide to join me, but I felt that I wanted to share this with you guys. You have a wonderful trip, right? And take care.